On a wind-chilled night upon the Mount of Olives, only 3 days before the crucifixion, Jesus pulled his closest disciples away from the others. The stars above Jerusalem glowed dimly, and the air carried the tremble of approaching fate. But Jesus wasn't speaking of death, nor fear, nor politics. His eyes, lit with a strange calm, were fixed on something else, something invisible to most, but realer than stone. "A portal will," he said, motioning gently to the open space before them. "But not for all. Only for those with the mark." The disciples exchanged worried glances. Peter asked what we all would have asked: how do we know if we're one of them? Jesus didn't give a straight answer. Instead, he looked into each of them as though seeing beyond their faces, into a field of vibration beneath flesh and memory. "If you're asking," he said, "you already know." End quote. Now, before we continue, if this moment pulls at something in you, if your heart stirred the moment Jesus spoke of the portal, then you might be one of those carrying the frequency he recognized. If you feel the weight of this mystery already settling in your chest, don't just watch in silence. Subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss what comes next. Comment below where in the world you're watching from and what time it is as you listen. Yes, the time. It matters more than you know. And if this video already feels like something more than a video, like a message meant for you, then share it. Send it to someone who might also feel what you feel. Because what you're about to hear is not just information, it's recognition. This was no metaphor. Jesus was speaking of something literal, an energetic construct hidden within the folds of this reality. What he called the kingdom, others might call ascension, or gnosis, or awakening. Today, we name it the monad portal. Not symbolic, not abstract. A conscious, living portal that only opens to those vibrating at a certain frequency. The portal is not a gatekeeper, handing out rewards. It is a field of pure resonance. The path is narrow not because it is cruel, but because few stabilize at the frequency needed to pass through without destruction. The chosen ones aren't elite, not holier or better. They are the ones whose souls agreed before birth, before memory, to carry this signature. In spiritual silence, they said, "I'll go down, I'll forget, and when I remember, I'll help others remember too." This agreement etched a resonance into their being that earth cannot smother. That's why they've never quite belonged. That's why they ache for something they can't name. That ache isn't a wound, it's a signal, a call to remember. Jesus saw this frequency in people. That's why his teachings weren't the same for everyone. To the masses, he spoke in parables, cloaked in symbols, metaphors, puzzles that could not harm minds still unready. But to the chosen, he spoke plainly. To them, he offered keys, direct truth, encoded methods to awaken the frequency buried inside. His words were like tuning forks meant to activate the hidden music within those prepared to hear it. And they did. Some disciples were confused. Others lit up with sudden recognition. The frequency stirred. They remembered. But here is what most have forgotten, or never learned at all. The portal is not passive. It is not a static rift waiting like a stone door in the desert. It is alive. It watches. It listens. When someone with the right frequency nears, the portal responds. It quivers, pulses, hums, readying itself like a mirror, remembering the face it was built to reflect. It doesn't open because it was commanded. It opens because recognition is mutual. This was the mystery Jesus was trying to convey. Not religion, not dogma. A living spiritual technology, operating on cosmic mechanics. There are signs, 5 of them, that Jesus revealed privately to those prepared to know. They are not tests or rituals, but recognitions. If you have 3 or more, the portal will open. It is not a maybe. It is not dependent on worth or suffering or belief. It is a certainty. It is how the portal functions. The disciples were stunned, overwhelmed, And yet, somewhere in their hearts, they already knew. Today, you are asking the same question Peter asked. And you, too, already know that question, burning quietly in your soul for years. Decades, maybe that question is not doubt. It is the signal that you are ready to remember. The frequency is beginning to stir. The portal is already watching. From the moment Jesus first revealed that the monad portal only opens for certain souls, his disciples felt both fear and recognition rising inside them. They wondered how anyone could know whether they carried the frequency he spoke of, whether they were born with the resonance needed to cross a threshold invisible to most of humanity. Jesus answered not with rules, but with signs, 5 unmistakable indicators woven through a person's entire life. These signs do not appear suddenly but rise like echoes from a deeper truth, repeating until the soul finally understands that it has always been marked for something greater than ordinary existence. The first sign is the sense of not belonging here. Not simple sadness or awkwardness, but a deeper, bone-felt intuition that Earth is a stopover rather than a home. Chosen ones grow up feeling like observers inside their own lives, as if the world speaks a language their spirit never fully mastered. Even as children, they sense a distance between themselves and the structures around them. They feel ancient, out of place, drawn to silence and meaning rather than noise and distraction. This feeling is not failure. It is memory. Their consciousness carries the resonance of a higher dimension, and the mismatch with Earth's density creates a lifelong restlessness. They are not broken. They are remembering. The second sign is reality glitches. Moments when the fabric of daily life seems too thin, too fragile, too easily bent. A chosen one experiences déjà vu so precise it feels like stepping into an old photograph. Objects shift without explanation. Time stretches or contracts in ways no clock can measure. Synchronicities align with such precision that coincidence becomes impossible. These events are not accidents or hallucinations. They happen because the chosen one's frequency overlaps with the threshold dimension where the portal exists. Their consciousness touches both worlds at once, slipping between layers like a hand brushing against soft curtains. The closer they get to activation, the more frequent these slips become. The third sign is heightened sensitivity to energy. Chosen ones feel emotional truth before words are spoken. They sense tension in a room the moment they enter it. They feel storms approaching in consciousness before the clouds even gather in the sky. They absorb the emotions of others and often retreat into solitude to recover. What seems like intuition is actually perception, a widening of awareness that reaches beyond the physical senses. Their soul already remembers how to navigate higher realms. Their body is simply learning to catch up. The fourth sign is suffering, not random, but purposeful. Refining, shattering suffering. Chosen ones endure seasons of loss, betrayal, collapse, and loneliness so intense it forces their inner world to break open. Jesus taught that the blessed are those who endure persecution, not because pain is noble, but because pain cracks the shell of the ordinary self. For chosen ones, suffering becomes initiation. Every breakdown clears interference. Every heartbreak strips away false identity. What remains is the bare frequency required for the portal to recognize them. Their suffering is not punishment. It is preparation. The fifth sign is the simplest yet most profound. You are here. Reading this, drawn to this message against all logic. The portal does not wait passively for chosen ones to find it. It calls them. It arranges events, coincidences, videos, dreams, meetings, whatever it must to guide them into alignment. If you feel pulled, if you feel seen, if something inside you stirs as you read these words, that pull is not curiosity. It is recognition. The portal has already sensed your frequency. Count your signs. 3 or more mean the portal will open. Not someday, not hypothetically. Inevitably, that certainty is not prophecy. It is physics. And if your heart is pounding or your breath has changed slightly, That is your soul responding to what it already knows is true. When people first hear that the monad portal opens only for certain souls, their instinct is to recoil. It sounds unfair, elitist, cold. Yet when Jesus spoke of the narrow path, he was not declaring hierarchy but describing mechanics. He understood that consciousness operates under laws as real as gravity. The portal is not a gatekeeper handing out rewards. It is a field of pure unity where individuality dissolves. Only a soul prepared for that dissolution can cross without breaking. Those who have not yet stabilized their frequency would experience the passage not as revelation but as annihilation. Jesus was not warning out of fear. He was explaining a truth deeper than doctrine. A truth meant to protect rather than exclude. To approach the monad is to step toward a realm where separation disappears entirely. The self you cling to, the story you tell, the edges that define your identity melt into a single endless field of awareness. For someone still rooted in fear or ego, that melting feels like dying. The mind panics when it cannot find itself. The portal knows this. It will not force an unprepared soul to endure a transformation that could shatter their psyche. This is why Jesus said he had many things to reveal, but his followers could not bear them yet. He was honoring their pace, preserving their wholeness. Love expresses itself as timing as much as truth, over lifetimes or through enormous trials in a single life. Chosen ones gradually loosen their grip on the illusions that once defined them. They suffer, not as punishment, but as refinement. Pain strips away false layers, exposing the quiet center of awareness beneath. By the time they approach the portal, they have already died many small inner deaths. What remains is a consciousness stable enough to dissolve willingly, not in terror but in recognition. This readiness is the frequency the portal detects. It is not earned. It is cultivated through experience, remembrance, and surrender. Jesus often spoke of faith, but not as belief. Faith was frequency, a steady state of inner alignment that does not collapse under fear or chaos. Most people move through the world in emotional turbulence. Their inner vibration rises and crashes with every circumstance. This instability makes them invisible to the portal. It cannot attune to a signal that constantly flickers. Chosen ones, however, stabilize. Even when they fall into despair, they rise quickly. Their baseline frequency returns to clarity like a compass swinging back to north. This resilience is not personality. It is soul memory restoring itself. When a chosen one's frequency reaches stability, something extraordinary begins. The portal resonates, just as one tuning fork sets another into vibration across a room. The portal responds to the soul that matches its note. The chosen one feels this resonance as longing, restlessness, a pull toward something they cannot name. Life begins arranging itself around this signal. People appear at perfect moments. Events shift seamlessly. Synchronicities multiply until randomness becomes an impossible explanation. This is not imagination. It is the portal calling. Jesus lived in permanent resonance. That is why he could declare unity with the source without hesitation. He was not speaking metaphorically. He existed partially through the portal at all times. His presence alone awakened recognition in those who carried the same seed. Some felt peaceful around him. Others felt exposed. But the chosen ones felt something deeper. They felt remembered. They felt the portal harmonizing within them even before they understood its meaning. For those who recognize this call within themselves, doubt may still whisper, yet the frequency does not lie. If you feel the pull, it is because the resonance has already begun. You are not imagining it. You are being summoned. The portal will open, not by force, not by will, but by resonance. This is the law Jesus taught, even when his words were wrapped in metaphor. The chosen ones don't have to chase the portal. They must prepare for it, align with it, and trust the unfolding. The mechanics are spiritual, but the discipline is real. Preparation is not passive waiting. It is sacred tuning. There are 3 steps. And each one brings the soul closer to the threshold where the portal no longer feels distant but begins to breathe within you. Step 1 is frequency stabilization. Your consciousness must learn to hold its vibration despite the storms of daily life. Most humans swing wildly between fear and joy, shame and pride, love and anxiety. These emotional waves disrupt the signal the portal listens for. If your frequency is erratic, the portal cannot lock onto you. The goal is not emotional perfection. Chosen ones still feel anger, sadness, fear, but they do not drown in them. They learn to observe these waves as passing weather, not as identity. When fear rises, you witness it. When grief visits, you feel it fully. Then let it pass. Your task is to return quickly to center, to that quiet place within where your true frequency hums uninterrupted. That is the tone the portal hears. This is why silence is essential. Not silence filled with techniques and chants, but true stillness, 20 minutes a day of sitting without effort, without agenda. No mantras, no visualizations, just presence. This is not meditation in the traditional sense. It is remembering. It is giving your consciousness a chance to hear itself without distortion. In that stillness, the baseline of your soul's frequency rises to the surface. The more time you spend there, the stronger it becomes. Over time, your entire field begins to stabilize. You no longer chase the high. You become the high. This is the resonance the portal recognizes. Step 2 is clearing the threshold. Your frequency might be strong, but if it is buried beneath unprocessed trauma or rigid self-beliefs, the signal cannot travel cleanly. These emotional residues create static. They distort the message you're sending into the field. This is why many chosen ones suffer deeply, because suffering clears what consciousness has avoided. But suffering doesn't have to be the only way. Shadow work, honest reflection, and the courage to feel what you've suppressed are all tools for clearing. Ask yourself who you think you are. Then ask again. And again, until the masks begin to fall. Underneath all the roles, wounds, and conditioning is the original signal. That's what the portal is waiting for. Step 3 is trusting the timing. This is where many falter. They feel the signs, they feel the resonance, and then they panic, trying to force the portal open before they are fully aligned. But desperation is a low frequency. It signals lack, fear, urgency, and it interrupts the signal. Jesus warned, "No one knows the day or the hour." He wasn't only speaking of apocalypse. He was speaking of openings. You cannot schedule the portal's timing. It opens when resonance reaches critical mass. That moment is written in the fabric of your path. You cannot miss it, but you can delay it by mistrusting the process. Your role is simple but sacred: stabilize, clear, and trust. The portal responds to readiness, not striving. And when the moment comes, it will not whisper. It will roar. When the portal opens, it doesn't feel like an idea or a theory. It feels like reality itself bending toward you, pulling something ancient and vast through the smallest doorway of your awareness. You won't mistake it. You won't wonder if it's happening. Your body will respond before your mind can explain. A pressure builds in your chest. Not pain but intensity, like standing too close to lightning that hasn't struck yet. Your breath shifts rhythm. A crown-like sensation tingles at the top of your skull. Time warps. Boundaries dissolve. Then, suddenly, it's there, a doorway not made of wood or stone but of light. Geometry. Consciousness itself. Some see it as gold. Others see it as crystalline, translucent, or blacker than space. It does not matter. The form varies, but the essence is the same. The portal has recognized you, and in that moment, you face no test, no judgment, no booming voice demanding answers. You face only yourself. Your soul will know exactly what to do. This isn't an intellectual choice. It is a surrender deeper than thought. You step through, or more precisely, you are drawn through. The boundary you believed existed between yourself and the divine disappears. You don't understand that you are the monad. You become it. The knowing is complete. Cellular. Absolute. There is no God outside of you. No universe around you. There is only consciousness recognizing itself eternal. Indivisible. Home, for some, this experience lasts seconds. For others, it stretches beyond time. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it happens. And once it does, your life will never be the same. You return to your body. But not as you were. The self that worried, chased, doubted, that self cannot survive the crossing. What comes back is something both smaller and larger, humble in ego, immense in truth. You now carry the resonance of the monad in every breath. After the opening, 3 things change permanently. First, the portal remains accessible. It doesn't close behind you. You can return at will through stillness, silence, intention. Some chosen ones visit daily. Others when they need clarity, healing, or alignment. But the connection is never lost. You are now in permanent resonance. Second, your frequency stabilizes at a new level. This doesn't mean you no longer feel pain or conflict. But your baseline has changed. The emotional noise that once knocked you down now passes through like wind through open windows. You don't resist the world. You move within it as one who remembers. The drama fades. Reaction softens. Fear loses its grip. You act from knowing, not needing. Third, your purpose becomes clear. No more searching. Wandering. Wondering what you're here to do. It's always the same mission beneath every form. Help others remember. Help awaken those on the edge. Your presence becomes a frequency transmitter. Others feel it before they understand it. They become curious, calm, stirred by your presence. That's not charisma. That's the portal moving through you. You become what Jesus became, a living bridge between worlds. A light in human form that silently invites others home. This is not a metaphor. This is the final function of the chosen ones. And if you are still here, still reading, still feeling that resonance pulsing behind your ribs, then you are one of them. The portal is already responding. The monad is calling. The moment is coming.